What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I want to recap Sunday's game between the Dallas Cowboys and our Atlanta Falcons. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you'll know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. As always, I appreciate you guys continuing to tune into the channel. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So on Sunday, we did face the Dallas Cowboys in week 2. Dallas got the victory by a score of 40-39. It was a very good game. Our Atlanta Falcons made some huge mistakes in this game, which cost us the game, and we now will start the season off at 0-2. Now, I do believe our Atlanta Falcons can dig themselves out of this hole. I do believe that the Falcons can be a playoff team this year and can also possibly make a deep playoff run. But it is some things that we're going to have to clean up if we want to be a playoff team and we want to be a contender. The first thing I want to talk about is the mental mistakes that the team made in this game. Julio Jones had a wide open touchdown that he dropped. It was a great pass by Russell Gage on the Wildcat. He did make a perfect throw. Julio Jones just misjudged the football and dropped the football. A couple different plays in this game where we just didn't execute on the onside kick. Those guys, I don't know what they were thinking. All the guys were just watching the football instead of attacking the football. All we had to do was dive on the ball and the game was over. For whatever reason, Jaden Graham, Zacchaeus, all of those guys that was around the football, Hayden Hurst, all those guys watched C.J. Goodwin of the Cowboys watch the ball roll 10 yards and allow the Dallas Cowboys to cover the ball up and get the football back on that onside kick. So I don't know what those guys were thinking. They were looking at the ball as if it was a grenade or a ticking time bomb. Everybody was just standing around looking at it. Of course, Dallas was looking at it because they couldn't touch it into 10 yards. I don't know why the Falcon players backed up and didn't attack the football. I don't know if they were told to do that by the special teams coach or whoever. But at some point when you're a player, you just have to be smarter than that. And you have to go by your instincts. And in that instance, I've never heard of a coach saying back off of an onside kick, especially if you're on a hands team. I always seen, on the hands team, they tell you to attack the football, especially in this situation where the Cowboys can't touch the football until one of our Falcons touch it, unless it rolls 10 yards, and then it becomes a live ball. But all our Atlanta Falcons had to do was basically cover the ball up, lay down on the ball, and the game was over. So it was some huge mistakes in this game. And I really believe that the Falcons, I don't want to take the credit away from the Dallas Cowboys, but I really feel like the Falcons gave this game away. I've heard a lot of people saying that Dan Quinn should be fired. And, this loss is on Dan Quinn. Personally, I don't believe this loss is on Dan Quinn. I just feel like our players have to execute and finish opportunities when they present themselves. Dallas, pretty much on every opportunity that we gave them, they took advantage of it. They recovered the football. Not only did they recover the football, but they drove the ball down into field goal range, and they kicked the field goal, and they made the field goal to win the game. So as much as we want to look at that one play on the onside kick and say that play lost the game, that one play didn't actually lose the game for our Falcons. It's, as I always say, it's 5 or 6 key plays in the football game that are momentum changers, momentum shifters. And to me, the offense played a wonderful game. Matt Ryan played a flawless game, 4 touchdown passes. Calvin Ridley, I believe he had in this game 2 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. But I know he had over 100 yards receiving, and he's been balling out. This is his second game in a row where he had over 100 yards receiving. Russell Gage is proven to be a great replacement for Mohamed Sanu. I didn't realize that he could also throw the football. So he's basically that Swiss Army knife that Mohamed Sanu was, but he's just a younger version and a faster version. To me, Russell Gage has really stepped his game up over the last couple seasons. And I'm really proud of, his work he's put in. It's really showing in this year. He had a nice skinny post for a touchdown in this game, and he did a great job on third downs and moving the chains. And he also threw a beautiful pass to Julio Jones, the play where Julio dropped the ball. It would have been a touchdown, but it was a great throw. He put the ball in an excellent position. So I feel like the Atlanta Falcons on the offense played a very solid game. We did have some injuries. Caleb McGarry did go down, but the offensive line still played well. Only 1 sack allowed by our offensive line, which is a job well done. Matt Gono came in and replaced Caleb McGarry at that right tackle position. He did a great job of keeping Matt Ryan clean on that right side. He did a great job against Alden Smith and DeMarcus Lawrence and those guys on that pass rush. Everson Griffin. The Cowboys, they have a very talented defensive line, but our offensive line has done a great job of gelling together, keeping Matt Ryan upright. So I like what I'm seeing out of the offense. I do think that we could be better in the run game. I feel like our run blocking hasn't been that great, but our pass protection has been a lot better than our run protection. I haven't seen a lot of holes open for Todd Gurley. He had a couple plays where he was tackled for loss in this game against the Cowboys. So that's another thing I would like to see on offense for us to clean up is maybe on the offensive line. I would like to see, better blocking in the run game and more holes open up for Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley, the first 2 games, hasn't been able to eclipse the 100-yard rushing mark. And he's had 2 average games, even though he hasn't been given the ball a ton. Dirk Cutter did a great job of calling a mix of run and pass. He stayed balanced in this game, and it was a great play calls by the offensive coordinator and Dirk Cutter. I love the game plan that he drew up. He got everybody involved. Hayden Hurst had a nice touchdown, on a curl pattern, or actually it was on an out route. He had a great touchdown where it was kind of like a wheel route actually, where he came, act like he was blocking, and then took off up the rails, up the sideline, and he had a great touchdown where the Cowboys defense kind of fell asleep and forgot all about him during the play action pass. So Dirk Cutter drew up, to me, a great game plan in this game, and that's really why I'm not putting this loss on coaching, whether it's Dan Quinn, whether it's the defensive coordinators and Raheem Morris and Jeff Ulbrich, whether it's Dan Quinn. I'm not putting this loss on the coaches. I feel like the plays were there to be made by the players, and we just didn't make the plays to win the game. If Julio Jones catches that touchdown, that extends our lead and kind of puts the game out of reach at that point. It would have blown the game open at that point. So it's just a lot of small plays that really came back to bite us. Another thing I noticed in this game, and it was a part of my keys to victory, was us being able to put pressure on Dak Prescott early in the game. Foye Oluokun had some great takeaways where he forced two or three fumbles in this game, which was great. Matter of fact, I think he forced two fumbles, and Deion Jones and Dante Fowler forced a fumble against Dak Prescott. But we recovered 2 of the 3 fumbles that we actually caused in this game. So the defense actually got turnovers, but I talked about it in my keys to victory. We needed turnovers, and we needed our offense to convert those turnovers into touchdowns. And to me in this game, it was a couple times where we got turnovers and we were held to field goals. And that was the difference in the football game. So I know a lot of people are going to look at, the defense in the second half, and they feel like our defense kind of let up in the second half. But personally, I think that the Falcons played a full game to me down to the wire. One thing I noticed in this game as well is, as I was talking about the injuries, one of my keys to victories was getting after Dak Prescott, and the left and right tackles. Dallas were out both their starting tackles. They were without their right tackle, and they were without their left tackle. So they had backups playing in those roles. But Tat McKinley did get hurt in the first quarter. They said he hurt his groin. And I really feel like that was a huge blow to the Atlanta Falcons and us being able to put pressure on Dak Prescott. Early in the game, it seemed like the pressure was immense. Dak Prescott really didn't have any time to pass. They were doing a pretty good job of bottling up Ezekiel Elliott early on in the game when Tack was out there and when Ricardo Allen was out there. But once Ricardo Allen, Pat McKinley went down with injury, and then Afoye Oluokun, he actually was battling cramps, and he was kind of like dehydrated out there, so they pulled him out of the game as well. Once those three guys went out of the game, you could tell the defense, the level of play, it was a huge drop-off in the level of play when you put Michael Walker out there instead of Afoye Oluokun, which is understandable because Michael Walker is a rookie, and they were able to expose him on a route with Schultz, who was able to catch a touchdown, who's the tight end for the Dallas Cowboys when Oluokun went out the game, which that would have been a player that Oluokun was guarding, the tight end. When Oluokun was in the game, he pretty much had him on ice. But as soon as he left the game, and Michael Walker and Leroy Reynolds got out there and replaced him, I seen a drop-off in the linebacker play. So personally, if Oluokun is going to be out, because I'm not too sure how serious his injury is. I believe it's just him being dehydrated. So if it's just cramping, he should be available to play against Chicago. But if it's something that they're not mentioning, and he's battling some type of other injury other than him just being dehydrated, I really think that the Falcons need to look at bringing some guys up, maybe from the practice squad, like a Deion Buchanan. That's the reason that we kept him on the roster. And I really think that he would have played a huge role in being able to cover tight ends in this last game. And he would have been a huge upgrade over Michael Walker just because he's a veteran. He pretty much has seen it all, being that he's been a starter in the NFL for a long time, mainly with the Arizona Cardinals as a linebacker. So I think the Falcons really need to look at making some adjustments with our lineups. Another player that I think that we need to give a shot in this game against Chicago, I would look at bringing in Bleedy Way Wilson. He plays special teams. He was number 33. He's a corner for our team. He's a veteran corner. I would look at putting him out there over Isaiah Oliver. I've seen enough out of the last two games with Isaiah Oliver. And I think at this point, his confidence is pretty much shot. I don't think that he has any confidence at this point. All he's out there doing is being a liability. Guys are catching, high pointed footballs on him, and they're basically just picking on him at this point. And trust me, every team is watching film during the week, and they're noticing that Isaiah Oliver is the weak link in man coverage and in zone coverage. To me, Isaiah Oliver doesn't know how to play the football. He doesn't turn around for the football when the football's in the air. He just face guards guys. And at this point, I think it's time to bring in Bleedy Way Wilson, who's a guy that is has good technique. And that's really what's killing Isaiah Oliver, is he doesn't have the proper technique. He doesn't have it down. I thought during training camp, he had him working with Joe Witt, the defensive backs coach. I thought he kind of, got him prepared for the season. And I thought Isaiah Oliver was going to play a lot better than he's played. But I'm just not seeing the transformation out of Isaiah Oliver. And I feel like he's kind of being a detriment to the team at this point. I don't think that you should bench Isaiah Oliver altogether. You possibly can play him when you have 4 corners on the field or 3 corners, sometimes mainly 4 corners on the field, because the top 3 guys I would start playing is AJ Terrell. Of course, Darqueze Dennard plays the slot, and then I would put Bleedy Way Wilson on the outside. We seen last year when Bleedy Way got his opportunities when Desmond Trufant, went down with injury. He was a guy that stepped in for the last couple games of the season, and he played solid for us. And hopefully we can get Kendall Sheffield back, who's the guy who I think will be the number 2 cornerback for us, because he has the speed. He played at Ohio State. He's one of those guys that ran track, and he has that 4.3 speed. So once we get AJ Terrell and Kendall Sheffield as the tandem on the outside, and then Darqueze Dennard on the inside, I really think at the nickel position, I really think that we want to have 3 good young cornerbacks. I didn't know coming into the season that Kendall Sheffield's injury was this serious. I heard after week 1 he was in a walking boot, so I'm not too sure if he sprained his ankle or he broke his broke his foot. I don't know what he's done, but it sounds like whatever injury Kendall Sheffield had is serious. He hasn't been practicing or anything like that for the last 2 weeks. So we really need him back because Isaiah Oliver has really struggled through the first 2 weeks of the season. And at this point, it looks like he's lost all confidence. So at this point, I would look at benching him and I would put in Bleedy Way Wilson because at least I know with Bleedy Way, he doesn't have great speed either. Him and Isaiah Oliver both lack that speed. But at least Bleedy Way plays the football. He's a solid tackler, and he's a veteran. He's not a guy that you can actually just continue to pick on. So I definitely, at this point, will move on. I will put Isaiah Oliver on the bench, and I will allow him to continue to develop. Clearly, he hasn't gotten it. He's still not developed. I don't believe in writing players off. I do think that Isaiah Oliver has a bright future, and maybe, later on in his career, after him watching from the bench, maybe, that'll light a fire up under him and maybe he can come back and prove himself. But at this point, if I'm the defensive coaches, I've lost all confidence in him at this point. Like I said, at this point, he's just being picked on. So I feel like we need to, make some adjustments until Kendall Sheffield gets back. I would throw Bleedy Way out there and see what happens. Now, if Bleedy Way goes out there and gets exposed as well and plays worse than Isaiah Oliver, then you always can go back to him. But at this point, I'll pull him off the field because it looks like he's lost all confidence. And if you don't have any confidence in yourself, how can the coaches and your teammates that's playing, playing next to you, how can they have confidence in you if you don't have confidence in yourself? And if you watch Isaiah Oliver's game out there on the field, he looks confused. He looks like, as I talked about in the offseason, that when a player makes a play on him, he has his head down and he doesn't look confident at this point. And mainly the biggest issue I'm seeing with Isaiah Oliver is his technique. He has bad technique. He's not technically sound. And that's one of the biggest things when you're a cornerback in this league. You can't take a bunch of false steps and stuff like that. He talked about that in the game against Seattle, where he took a couple false steps forward. And that's how DK Metcalf beat him on that streak or that 9 route. So at this point, I would just go ahead, put Isaiah Oliver on the bench and bring in Bleedy Way Wilson and see if he can be the next man up to step to the plate and get it done. Now for the defensive line, coming into the season, I thought that the defensive line would be improved. I did see improvements in week 1 and the first quarter of week 2. I do think they improved from last year, but coming into the season, I thought that they were going to have more fresh bodies like a Charles Harris, like Marlon Davidson, who we brought in from Auburn to play that 3 technique and also play defensive end. But those guys have been injured since training camp as well. And hopefully we can get those guys back as well. We really need Marlon Davidson back. He's another big body you can put inside or outside, but mainly inside is where I'm seeing us struggle to stop the run and things of that nature. Dallas gashed us right up the middle with Zeke Elliott on a lot of those runs. The play where he basically just mowed over DeMonte Casey, I feel like was one of those plays in the game where it was a momentum shift in the game. And there was a couple plays where he was just mowing through our guys like he was a lawnmower and our guys were grass. He was just running right through the heart of our defense. And if you don't know anything about football, one of the most important things in football, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is stopping the run. That's one of the things that I talked about also in my keys to victory. And also coming into the season, I thought the Falcons would be better at stopping the run. And we've struggled again this year so far in stopping the run. I feel like we just don't have enough bodies up front. If you watch the game on Sunday, once Pat McKinley kind of went down with injury, we didn't have a ton of bodies we could rotate in. Mainly, we were playing John Kaminsky, Tyler Davison, Grady Jarrett, and Dante Fowler. Those were the main guys who were playing. Steven Means was rotating in, and Jacob Tatui-Mariner was rotating in. But we didn't have Marlon Davison because of injury. We haven't had him in the first 2 weeks, and we didn't have Charles Harris. And those 2 guys I thought were going to be impact players for our defensive line, not only to stop the run, but also put pressure on the quarterback. And right now, it just seems like our defensive line is being worn down throughout the game. Sunday, it looks like our defense just got worn down. I did like the game plan I seen some blitzes and things of that nature. from our defensive coordinators, and I seen Deion Jones come on a couple blitzes. I seen AJ Terrell actually get a sack on Dak Prescott, and I think that was a great play to have a cornerback come in on the blitz, especially when you're playing against a mobile quarterback that can actually outrun a defensive lineman. Most of the times, if you bring a corner, or a fast linebacker on a blitz, the quarterback can actually escape. And I think they did a good job of mixing in blitzes on Sunday. I really feel like the biggest issue with the defense in the second half is they got tired because Dallas continued to pound the rock with Zeke. And we didn't have any guys we could rotate in to help Grady Jarrett and those guys in the middle. Him and Tyler Davidson, those guys pretty much had to play majority of the game. Allen Bailey is another guy that actually got in the game, and they were trying to rotate in and out as well. But to me, we just don't have enough impact players right now on the defensive line. Coming into the season, I thought the impact players would be Tat McKinley, Grady Jarrett, Dante Fowler, Marlon Davidson, and then Charles Harris. I thought those guys were going to be the guys that was going to be featured as defensive ends and guys that was going to be able to get pressure on the quarterback. But in this game, it felt like early in the game we were getting pressure there and stuff like that. But after we had those key injuries, it seemed like the defensive pressure, as far as on the quarterback, died down, and Dak Prescott got comfortable in the pocket. And that's when he begins to dice up our defense. So I really think that in this week, we really need Marlon Davidson back. We need Charles Harris back. If those guys are not back, we may also need to look at signing another player that can play up front. I don't know how much cap space we have, but we might need to look at bringing in a guy like Snacks Harrison that used to play with the Giants, or bring in another guy that can help solidify that middle and, keep teams from being physical and being able to run the ball right at the teeth of our defense, because we got some teams coming up that's very physical. This week we played the Chicago Bears. They're a team that likes to pound the rock with their running backs. I think the week after that, we played the Green Bay Packers on Monday Night Football. They have Aaron Jones. He's one of those guys that's a young running back that's coming on strong, and he's I think he actually made the Pro Bowl last year. So he's definitely one of those guys that is becoming a star in this league as well. So we definitely have to tighten up on the defensive side of the ball. I really like what I've seen, like I said, early on before the injuries happened. I like what I'm seeing out of Foye Oluokun. It looks like he's taking the next step, and he's done a great job of developing. He was doing a great job in coverage, doing a great job at punching the football out. So it looks like he's done a great job of filling in and taking over that Devondre Campbell will linebacker role. But we just need some of these guys to step up. Keanu Neal had a big hit in the game. It looks like he's starting to round in the form. He had a big hit on the kid Noah the wide receiver Noah that plays for the Cowboys. He came across the middle, and Keanu Neal had a great hit on him. But the young kid on the outside, AJ Terrell, I don't know if you guys seen it, but it was a stat came out saying that he was graded the highest. They had the highest grade out of all of the players on our defense from Sunday's game. He had I think they graded him like as an 80 overall. And this was, I guess, Pro Football Focus basically graded him as the highest ranked defensive player for us. So that's one good thing we also can look forward to, is he's one of those guys that looks like he's going to be a lockdown corner. And he's one of those guys that I think only allowed 2 catches to his side on Sunday. So that just goes to show you that, defenses are really picking on Isaiah Oliver, picking on the other guys that they can go at. They've been kind of going at Darqueze Dennard a little bit as well. But one thing about Darqueze Dennard, to me, it seems like it's kind of a tit for tat thing with him. Yeah, they make a couple plays on him, but he also almost had 2 interceptions. He got his hands on a couple footballs on Sunday. And I like the way that Darqueze Dennard plays. He's a veteran player, and he's a guy that's been playing pretty well. To me, Isaiah Oliver is the guy that's being spotlighted, has a spotlight on him or has a bullseye on his back, to me, by all of the other offenses where they're scheming up plays to go directly at him. So I think it's time, like I said, to give Bleedy away Wilson a chance to see if Bleedy can come in and, make plays and see if he can actually cover a little bit better than Isaiah Oliver. But with that being said, those are pretty much the takes that I have from this past Sunday's game. I do think that we can turn it around. It's not too late. We're down. We're 0-2 right now. But in our division, Tampa Bay is 1-1, and everybody else is. I believe Tampa Bay is 1-1. The Saints are 1-1 because they lost last night to the Raiders. And I think the Carolina Panthers and the Falcons are 0-2 right now. So we're only a game out right now. We're only 2 games in. It's not panic time. If you ask me on the scale of 1 to 10, like how much pressure or how much trouble that I think our Falcons are in, I'm at about a 5 right now. So about medium. We really need to win this game on Sunday. This is a must win against the Chicago Bears. We have to start beating these NFC opponents. And we definitely need to start tallying up some wins in the win column. We can't afford to go down 0-3 or 0-3 because most of the times, if you look at the percentages, when you lose or you start off the season 0-3, the chances of making the playoffs, I believe, are less than 10%. So we definitely don't need to dig ourselves in any deeper hole than we currently have. Like I was saying, I do think that our Falcons have the correct coaching staff to turn this around. I do think we got the correct players to turn it around. I just think that we have to make plays and execute when plays are there to be made. To me, the game plan on Sunday wasn't a bad game plan. To me, we had the game at hand and basically wrapped up. We just didn't make a couple key plays down the stretch. We make three or four of those plays and we win the game Sunday. So, if Julio catches that touchdown, if we cover up that onside kick, those 2 plays right there change the football game. So we just have to make plays going forward. Like I was saying, if you look at our current record, we're right there 0-2. The Bucks are 1-1. The Saints are 1-1. But the Saints, if you watched the game last night, they didn't look too good against the Raiders. The Raiders pretty much pushed them around. And as I was always talking about, as I always say, football is about the game of inches. And the Raiders pretty much did the same thing kind of that Dallas did to us on Sunday. They kind of ran the ball right at Cam Jordan and that defense. They kind of gutted the defense of the Saints. And they kind of bullied them with their offensive line. They were the more physical team in this game. They controlled the line of scrimmage. And pretty much that's what wins you football games. So I've been saying it for years with our Falcons. We have to do a better job at controlling the line of scrimmage. I do think that we need to add some bigger players on the defensive line, like at the nose tackle position. I really think that without Marlon Davidson, we're going to continue to struggle on the inside because Grady's the only guy really that's impactful on the inside. To me, I haven't seen enough out of John Kaminsky inside. I think he's done a better job at playing a D-end position. But I really think we need a true 1-tech or a true 3-tech that can play alongside of Grady Jarrett. We need one of those big guys, like I was saying, like a Snacks Harrison, somebody that can give him some relief inside, even to a lesser degree, like a Jonathan Babineau. When Jonathan Babineau was on the Falcons, he was one of those guys that could hold the point, could penetrate. And in 2016, him and Grady Jarrett was one of the main reasons why our pass rush was legit, because we had those guys that could get that push in the middle. And we really have missed Jonathan Babineau since he retired. So we definitely need someone else to play inside. Hopefully it could be Marlon Davidson when he comes back from injury. And hopefully he gets back soon from that injury. But I definitely think that we can beat the Chicago Bears this Sunday at home. We really need this victory. I'm planning on, or I'm believing that our team will come out and have another great performance. I know the offense is going to give us at least 20, at least 25 points, because usually that's what, Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, they're at least good for 25 to 30 points a game. We just need this defense to be average. We don't even need this defense to necessarily be, the best in the league. We just need, if we can get our team to be, in a top 15 defense and get turnovers, to get timely turnovers. I really think because our offense is so high powered and Matt Ryan is that great of a quarterback, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and Russell Gage, and those guys are that special, and Todd Gurley and those guys in the backfield, I really think that we're going to win a lot of games this year. I just think that we have to get timely turnovers and we have to make plays when plays are there to be made. If we don't make plays when plays are there to be made, then we're going to have a lot of games end up like it ended up Sunday, where, we just didn't take advantage of our opportunities. But I don't think as I was saying again, just to reiterate, I don't think that the coaching staff is that bad. I do think, that that's being overblown. That Dan Quinn and the coaching staff is bad. I don't think that the coaching staff is bad, and I don't think they're coming up with bad game plans. I think it's more personnel than game planning. If you want to be able to stop the run, you just have to have those big guys inside. If you don't have the personnel, I don't care what team you are, if you don't have the personnel and you're not able to stop the run, you're going to get dominated by most teams in the NFL. And it's kind of been proven the last 2 seasons. The Falcons haven't had those big bodies up front, and we've basically paid the price. We've been an average team going 7-9 the last 2 seasons, but I feel like the reason that we haven't been able to get over the hump is mainly because we're too small. We're getting bullied in the trenches. Teams are being able to move the pocket, push the D-line around, push our O-line around. This year, our O-line looks much improved. They've done a great job the first 2 weeks. Now the Chicago Bears, I'm going to do my breakdown on Chicago later on this week of my keys to victory, but they do have a great defensive line with Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks, Robert Quinn, and those guys. So this is going to be the real test for our offensive line to really see if our offensive line is legit, because the Bears have one of the best defensive lines in the game. They have one of the best pass rushers in the game, a top 3 pass rusher. So if we're able to stymie those guys and stop those guys from getting pressure to Matt Ryan, that's really going to tell me that this offensive line is one of the best in the league. But if they are able to take advantage of us and push us around, that's going to tell me that maybe our O-line is just average and it's not, as good as it's been looking the first 2 weeks. Because to be honest, Seattle's defensive line is not that great. And then the Dallas Cowboys defensive line is just average as well. I thought the defensive line for Dallas was a lot better until Sunday. So we're going to really see this week how good our offensive line and our defensive line really is, because the Bears are one of those physical teams that I talk about, and they like to control the line of scrimmage. So if we want to be able to compete for a Super Bowl this year, which I believe is still a possibility, we just have to stick with things, stay together. Julio Jones talked about it. I do believe the Falcons have a bunch of leaders in that locker room. I don't think that guys are holding their heads down. I really think that guys are ticked off in that locker room. I really think they're going to come out and play hard this Sunday and try to come out with a victory. I really don't think that Sunday's loss demoralized those guys. And if it did demoralize them, that's going to tell me a lot about my team. If the Falcons players in that locker room have given up because they lost the lead on Sunday, and if they don't come out and play hard on Sunday and they kind of give up, that's going to show what we're really made of. So at times like these, and 0-2, this is where, this is for all the marbles. Basically, this is going to really show us what we're made of. When adversity hits, this is when you really find out, what you're made of. Are you going to crumble, or are you guys going to pull it together and come out and get a dub? And we really need a dub this week. So this being your boy Jew, you guys let me know what you think about the video. As I was saying before, I'm going to have a lot more coming for you guys, a couple of live videos coming for you guys. Continue to hit that subscribe button. I appreciate it. Tell your friends, your family to subscribe, please. We're trying to hit this 1,000. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. So you guys continue to hit that like button, continue to hit that subscribe button, continue to leave your comments. I love talking with you guys in the chat. You guys leaving your comments. I love answering your questions. If you have a question about something you might want me to do, or a video you might want me to create about a certain topic, I'll be happy to do that as well. Not only should you subscribe to my channel, but definitely also subscribe to AFN, Atlanta Falcons Nation, I'm also affiliated with Atlanta Falcons Nation. So if you guys could go over, every single one of my subscribers, I would really appreciate it if you go over and hit that subscribe button there. We just started our network maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. Me, Mad Mike Sports, K Styles. We do a show every Friday night, the Heavy Hitters, and we talk every Friday night at 8 p.m. Between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m., we talk about Atlanta Falcons football. We break down the game. We give y'all the facts, the true facts about our Atlanta Falcons. We don't just go up there and, speak by emotions, but we give you the numbers and we do our research. So you guys, please hit that like button over there. Hit that subscribe button at Atlanta Falcons Nation. Hit that like button and that subscribe button here at Jew Talk Sports. I appreciate you guys continuing to tune in. Like I said, I'm going to have a lot more coming for you guys. I love football season. There's been a lot going on, but I really think that we can get right back in the thick of things. Me watching the Saints lose last night to the Raiders just goes to show you that, in the NFL, it's hard to come by wins. And that's why Sunday's loss hurt so bad, because we had the game and we allowed it to slip away. So we definitely have to bunker down, and we really have to, be on our A game this coming Sunday, because we're going to need it against these Chicago Bears that's currently 2-0. But with that being said, this been your boy Jew. I'll holler at you guys in the next video. As always, Falcons Nation, we rise up. Peace out.